everybody, to the top 10 legacy figures of 2022. And first off, I have to say thank you guys very much for taking the time out of your day to actually watch my video. It is not lost on me, and I truly appreciate it. However, before we jump into our list, I do want to go ahead and mention that if you guys are interested in looking at our TikTok or our Instagram, info for that will be down below. But that's not why you're here. You're here to actually see what we got on our list. So let's get right in it with number 10, Armada Starscream. But look at how sick our boy is in his jet mode. I love the fact that they've gone in and made certain pieces that are animation accurate, especially like the cockpit color. And then, of course, the fact that he can use his null rays in jet mode. How awesome is that? Now, looking at his robot mode, we can see this boy is paying faithful homage to the cartoon. And man, he looks sick, whether he's whipping out his null rays in robot mode, or if the boy is going sword to sword. And you know, there's going to be a Thundercracker and potentially a Skywarp recolor coming down the road. It's going to be spectacular. So I love that. Number 9, the toy accurate recolor of Dinobot. I'm seeing a direct correlation of where they pulled inspiration from and how they applied it to the remold of Dinobot that was last time used for Grimlock. However, it just, oh man, it looks awesome. When I'm looking at the colors, it's like the golds and the reds and the dark browns and the blue on his face, and this thing is just such a solid mold. And now to pull it out for this iteration in Legacy, it is not disappointing. So as you can probably tell by my gushing over this figure, it is probably no surprise that it landed at number 9. And with that being said, I just absolutely dig it. Now the next person on our list actually takes a lot of cues from the Generation 1 Skywarp, unless it's just a reborn version of him. But that is number 8, being Skywasp from the Creatures Collide set. One of the strong Skywarp-esque things is the black and purple. However, this boy ratchets it up by adding a little bit of gold and a little bit of red, and boom, you have a menacing version of this Waspinator mold, because it just takes what was great and something like that, like I said, it just boosts this figure up, because when you compare him to the other boys in beast mode, he clearly is the best looking one there. And then whenever you go into robot mode, oh boy, and you start adding like the fiction that is known for this guy, that just like Skywarp, he'll teleport around the battlefield, shoot people in the back, grin about it, being a snot-nosed little punk. Just even in the face details, it is amazing the vibe that it has of its own accord, despite the fact that it was already used for a more well-known character. So in name and paint job, it has given it a life of its own, and that is why he lands where he does on the list. Number 7, Motormaster. Obviously, I think the big draw of this guy is the fact that you can, of his own accord, have Minosaur, even if it is just a skeletal version, and it still looks sick. And then on top of that, he actually pays homage to the old figure by having a base mode of his own, and it looks amazing. Plus the figure himself, the fact that he can go toe-to-toe with Optimus in robot mode, and that looks so awesome. And then in vehicle mode, it actually all works pretty nice. It's compact, it is very clean, so I definitely am not regretting getting Motormaster. Number 6 on the list is none other than Cybertron Metroplex. I have always liked this iteration of Metro, and the fact that he had a giant axe named Spark Drinker, oh my gosh. They took what was great about the original figure, and on this boy, they have just, of course, upgraded it, as they be doing with all the boys on this list. And my goodness, it is so cool to see him at Titan scale, because it seems appropriate for the leader of the giant planet. And the fact that they actually reinterpreted his worker mode to be a little bit more legit, I'm loving that. And even the fact that he has a little bit of airlock compatibility to where you can combine him in a fan base mode if you so choose. That is awesome. When they make the Titan class figure of the year, a Cybertron figure. That just proves that Cybertron is getting quite a bit of love. And again, I am digging it.
The Transformers will return after these messages.
Now guys, we are actually going to drop a honorable mention in the middle of the list for a change. That being none other than Legacy Blitzwing. Now, one of the things that we do have to admit is that his robot mode is sick. There is no doubting that. He looks good with other figures and action poses. The other area where he succeeds, especially considering I love the missile pods for tank mode, I think that's the probably best iteration of those Hulk hands. He looks great with those. And now with his jet mode. But I thought about how his tank treads, what if they were actually used as anti-grav units that could help him while he's in flight? But I thought, well, if they're anti-grav units, what if he managed to position himself over an enemy and supercharge them to where he could just totally unleash a powerful blast on them? Something like... So there's a little bit of redemption for Blitzwing, at least to me personally.
We now return to the Transformers.
Alright, and now we have made it to the top 5 part of the list.
And not long now.
And probably you are going to find very few surprises here, but maybe I'll throw a curveball at you. Because number 5 is none other than Tarantulas. Now, I think we all knew that an updated version of Beast Wars guy, come on. And the fact that he finally has a killer, sick-looking tarantula mode, and it is able to hold itself up off the ground, which is a big thing for me because his old guy could not do that in any way. And then on top of that, look how killer his robot mode is. Oh, every last detail. Now we've talked about the CGI spider legs and how it's a thing that he has to deal with. That's fine. His sculpting and paint job alone make him the most accurate representation of the Season 1 form that we've ever gotten, and ain't nobody taken that from him. Now number 4 actually surprised me, and it is none other than the Prime Universe version of Bulkhead. And I have to say, never having had a version of Bulkhead before, I am amazed and actually kind of like his reinterpreted vehicle mode. And then he gets into Ultra Gear whenever you go to robot mode, because we can see here he's squaring off with Blitzwing, and oh man, he looks awesome with his own equipment like the Wrecking Ball, but when you put the hammer in his hand, oh my goodness, he just goes to town on our little Triple Tranger boy here, and he looks really good doing it, because it doesn't matter whether it's melee weapons or blasters or what have you. He's the Hulk of the team. Ironic that he's green, maybe it's not. And then you can just see that he totally trashes Blitzwing, and oh man. So with that being said, if this guy is such a top tier banger, who are actually the bots that outdid him? Number 3 is actually a tie between the 2001 RID Scourge and the G2 Optimus Prime. Now, that being said, we're going to lean a little bit more towards the Scourge side of things because I am quite a fan of the original 2001 RID, and the fact that by the time Scourge showed up in the show, that's when it started getting serious. And this boy's figure reflects that grim, serious outlook that that figure and that character are known for. And the fact that, yeah, he didn't come with the greatest weapons and stuff, but the fact that once he has a sword that is appropriate, he looks sick. The fact that he jacked Megatron's throne and looks like a total boss, I am not surprised. And plus it takes a real man to rock pink. And you know what? While I would have preferred red, definitely Scourge is killing it. What a manly man. Especially when you pair him off with Laser Prime and you see two sides of the same coin, and oh my goodness, it is, oh yes, definitely he deserves to be the number 3 spot. So everybody, we are finally reaching the top 2 on the list. So who does claim the silver medal on this list? Well, it's none other than the fire-spewing fire ant himself, Inferno. He has a totally kickin' beast mode. I love the aesthetic detail because ever since the days of Kingdom, and especially now into Legacy, how they're giving it more of that realistic looking beast mode and his ant carapace, and oh man, the guy, he totally owns it because, I mean, that's just part of his personality. And the fact that you can strap a gun on his back, certain characters like Wild Rider and him, it makes sense for those guys. However, when we get into robot mode, this is where the boy really shines. I am actually enamored with the fact that they kept his 4 propeller rotor butt, which is, oh, that's so good. And the fact that his gun is the actual thruster, oh, chef's kiss on that. Now, I'm not too crazy about it being the gun, but that's why third-party things exist. And once that arrives, this boy will definitely secure his number 2 spot for this year. However, he's coasting on his already amazing credit, and I can do that. It's my list. Now, before we get to the number 1 figure of the year, we have one more honorable mention, and that is of the Amazon Wreckers Diaclone Universe Twin Twist. And it's more the fact that I just dig, pun intended, the fact that this guy is a drill tank. The thing that I absolutely enjoy about it is the fact that it channels some of that Diaclone flavor, and yeah, it is all transformery guys and bits and headmasters, but it feels like a little tiny man driving a giant vehicle. And then whenever you put him into robot mode, those colors just make his robot mode, it just makes you take it seriously. Definitely, he was probably my favorite one of the Wreckers so far, with Impactor maybe coming in at a distant second. Oh, have we reached that point on the list already? Yes, we have. Guys, I'm not losing it. I'm just really happy to be doing this list. Can you guess who the number 1 figure is? Well, of course, it's none other than the Legacy Dragon Megatron. Man, this dude has scooped it 2 years in a row. Is there anybody that is going to dethrone this mighty dragon? I mean, come on! This boy is sick. He's like 97% perfect, but aside from that, the sculpting is CGI accurate, the dragon mode is more expressive than the old one could ever hope to be, and I'm just saying that, man, for a dude that rocks a giant mythical dragon neck and head as his left arm, the dude has to be extra, and this delivers on that. His wings they just add to the overall awesomeness of his robot and dragon mode. And even though the Power of the Prime's Optimal Optimus is his closest dance partner, and it's not 100% perfect, you gotta admit that at least to some degree, it still looks pretty sick. Oh, man, especially when Megatron's kind of tossing him around, I'm not gonna lie. So anyway, guys, that was my list for this year of the Legacy figures. We might do an addendum somewhere down the line, but like I said in my last video, I really appreciate you guys making this such an awesome year. We've had such a growth on the channel, so it does mean a lot to me that you guys enjoy the content that I put out. And I know sometimes I go over the top, but whenever I'm talking about figures like Megatron, my excitement gets the better of me. We just go full tilt over the top, so I apologize. But again, thank you guys very much, and I look forward to all the figures that we're going to do in 2023. And until next time, guys, I'll see you in another video.